much, and very good morning, everyone. I would first thank RUSI for organizing this event, as well as Atlantic Council, MNC Sārts and Albany Associates for helping to put up this event together. So first, conflict and strategic communications. I would actually start by rephrasing, saying that conflict is strategic communication. Because when you think about the conflict, it's about influencing the other party. To influence the other party in a way you want them to behave, act, and etc. If I think of some of the greatest strategic communicators of all time, I first think of Genghis Khan. Well, did he have a concept of strategic communication? Did he have information age? Did he have the means of modern communication? No, he didn't. But I think he was quite clever in using the information and perceptions. And as you know, the famous story of a rising city just to have other cities to open their gates. Isn't that strategic communication? It is, in my view. But certainly, with that, I would like to say it's nothing new there. Of course, there are elements that are new. And these new elements are the way we exchange the information in the current environment, the way our societies work, how our social interaction happens. And that is what has changed. If I look, and for today's short talk, I will mostly concentrate on the status of the things as they are. When we look at the thing, we here in the West would say the technology is ours. The marketing powerhouses are in our countries. Yet we're having this discussion against the feeling of being pushed. Against the feeling of being pushed by different actors. Russia, I'm sure it will come up a couple of times today. Daesh, one can name also China in more subtle ways. But we are having the sense of being pushed. Why is that so? In my view, it is because the opponents have identified the weakness or ability to influence our societies directly through different means and different actors, so that pursuing a specific policies or being able to disrupt specific policies is becoming much more easier possibility. Just think of a couple of examples, namely one can name Germany, one can name the Baltic states. There are quite a lot of interesting things going on in Scandinavian countries. So they have thought about it in a context, as I would say, not being able to compete with us in a pure technological sense, but understanding our need by the construct of our societies of taking our public opinion with us for whatever policies we pursue. At the moment you're able to influence that, you can have a backdoor entrance onto the outcomes and the behavioral outcomes of the given societies. If I look of two last week's news, a couple of very telling examples come to my mind. First, Russia has put up the military exercise Kavkaz 2016. And one of the great news they come back from there, they've been practicing information confrontation as a part of a military exercise. In an interview given by Deputy Defense Minister Gerasimov, he's saying that is one of the new ways of mass influence. Well, in Russian, the direct translation would be mass destruction. I would attune that to mass influence. So they say they have that structurally embedded in all military districts across their military. So that's the way they see it. In some of the research we've done recently, we've seen them also training their ability to to understand the audience through all the modern means of communication, including Facebook and others, understanding how audience thinks. And that is not about us. That's how they look at that phenomenon. So what is there for us? I still believe by and all, we are the stronger party. We've just not awakened to the challenge. And in some of the cases, one has to go back to some historical books to find some of the recipes. And I'm sure during today's discussion, there'll be quite a lot of references to the history of how we used to deal with this particular problem. Some of the answer in the future is in applying the technical capabilities that current and future information environment allows us. Big data analysis, extrapolating the tendencies from the big data analysis on being able to understand the future not only future developments, but to predict next steps of this societal reaction to a given problem. All of these things are there. But to me, the three key important parameters for us being successful, first, is understand the audience. Our opposing parties, and very deep understanding of that, their motivations, their behavioral patterns, these are very important basics. Second thing, and I'm sure it is going to be reflected also in the future, in today's panels, we have to talk in a way that resonates with audiences. And I'm not talking only on one nation. I think that's a common problem of today, that we talk to the audience in a way that they don't understand. Or they just block whatever we talk because that's irrelevant to their current worldview, interests, and etc. Build successful, well-defined, and appealing narratives. And the third thing, although military can lead the way, there's no other solution than cross-government. If you don't have all the government talking in the same language, within the same narrative, within the same framework, it's not going to succeed. Even if the military built their best narrative, their best framework, it just takes one wrong turn at a different part of the government and all goes to nothing. So everybody has to think in these terms. And the last piece is the understanding that everything communicates. And that is one of the key things what I'm trying to tell, especially to the senior leadership. It is not about what you talk only, or mostly it's only a very, very limited part of your communication pattern. It's everything. And most importantly, deeds are the most telling communicators, especially if we talk about conflict. Returning back to Genghis Khan, killing everybody in a city is a deed that communicates extremely strongly across languages, across cultures. That's a bad example. It's an inhuman example, but sets a framework of deed being the ultimate communicator. And therefore, as I say once again, it's all about comprehensive approach to communications. And if it is left only to the ones that are to communicate, it would not be successful. Everybody has to embrace that approach from top down.